What up, YouTube? You already know Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou. NFZR2, baby. First time you're coming to the channel, we highly appreciate it if you sub, like, and share the channel with your family, folks, peoples, gente, buddies, pals, amigos, and panas. So the results are in, peoples. UFC 283. If you guys don't know, or if you do know, I went ahead and went over the scorecard yesterday. The 5 main fights, the undercard, and the two co-main events. I predicted 3 fights out of the 5 main ones, and I was correct. I went 2 for 3, so I'm batting 666, right? We'll start with the Gilbert Burns fight. Gilbert Burns won submission in the first round, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. He defeated Neil Magny. So now Gilbert Burns' record advanced 21-5. And Magny's record now is 27-11. That was in the welterweight division. Excuse me. The rubber match on the co-main event of Brandon Moreno against champion at that time, Figueiredo. It was a TKO of the 3rd round. Moreno is now the champion. So now the series, the 4-fight series, it goes now 2 wins to Moreno, 1 loss to Moreno, and 1 draw. And his record advances to 21-6-2. And Figueiredo, his record is 21-3-1. And in that belt, and that was the lightweight, the flyweight, for the flyweight title. And then the main event was the light heavyweight title. It was for the vacant belt. That was vacated by I can't even think of the guy's name. I mean, I can't pronounce the guy's name. But those of you that know, I mean, I know who I'm talking about. I just can't pronounce the name. The guy that had the tail, and then when he took the picture with for the next fight, for the fight with Teixeira made a comment to him about cutting his hair like Samson or something like that. But this was for the vacant light heavyweight title, the light heavyweight title of the UFC, and it was the ex-lightweight heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira against the young up-and-comer Jamal Hill. And Jamal Hill won. He is now the light heavyweight champion of the UFC. He advanced to 12-1 with 1 no contest. And Teixeira is now 33-9. And he also, and this was a decision. And he also, he retired right then and there after the fight. Let's see. So I'm going to read what happened here in the first card on the Brazilian soil. Oh yeah, this fight was in Brazil too. So it was a big disappointment for Teixeira being on his motherland. You know, he was back in the motherland. He wasn't able to win the belt. And also in the co-main event, Figueiredo was also Brazilian. So in the first card on Brazilian soil in 3 years, Saturday's UFC 283 pay-per-view event produced no shortage of fireworks and big-time moments in Rio de Janeiro. Along with a pair of title bouts atop the marquee, the card also features 17 different Brazilian-born fighters across 15 fights. Legendary light heavyweight Mauricio Shogun Rua also said goodbye after the close of a 21-year career, and retired featherweight king Jose Aldo also brought to tears cage side when it was announced he would headline the 2023 UFC Hall of Fame class. Let's take a closer look at the biggest takeaways from the action inside the octagon, right? So this is can't get enough boxing and MMA. Get the latest in the world combat sports from 2 of the best in the business, right? Subscribe to Morning Combat with Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell for the best analysis and in-depth news, including complete coverage of UFC 283 all week long. So I listened to a little bit of them. That's why I included that right now. But Jamal Hill earned every inch of the UFC light heavyweight title. There was no shortage of criticism for the UFC brass after a December draw between Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev for the vacant 205-pound title led to President Dana Hill hastily ordering Glover Teixeira to face the number 7 ranked Hill for the belt. But the extra miles inside the cage that Hill was forced to go by the former champion Teixeira and his otherworldly level of toughness went a long way in making Hill feel very much the legitimate champion when all was said and done. Hill stayed off his back for the entirety of the round 1 to set a tone that Teixeira wouldn't be able to manhandle him on the ground. From there, Hill chipped away on the feet with superb boxing and incredible poise throughout while showcasing 5-round championship stamina and passing every single test Teixeira had for him. This was a mature breakthrough performance for a 31-year-old fighter who was largely unheralded despite an 11-1 record coming in. So many others would have buckled in his spot had they had not been fully ready for the opportunity because Teixeira simply wouldn't capitulate, even as extreme swelling and blood around his eyes compromised his vision and kept him seemingly one punch away from rallying the entire fight. Even as Teixeira rallied to take Hill down in round 5, sliding into full mount for a brief time, Hill never crumbled and broke down emotionally after the final horn once it became clear his dreams had come true, even if many had so vocally counted him out. Teixeira's post-fight retirement was right on time. Teixeira said it himself after the fight, admitting he probably too tough for his own good before he confirmed the unanimous decision loss in his third shot at the UFC gold would be his last. For a fighter who already drastically redefined his legacy by upsetting his way to the title at age 42 in 2021, the performance Teixeira saved for last against Hill was as memorable and impressive as any of his 33 pro wins. There was a moment after round 4 as the cage-side doctor examined his bloody, damaged face that Teixeira's corner would have been justified in throwing in the towel simply to prevent Teixeira from compromising his own eventual retirement. A noted knockout artist who entered Saturday on a 3-fight finishing streak, Hill landed the kind of head kicks and powerful right hands that would have finished 99% of the planet. Yet Teixeira never stopped pressuring forward in a performance as inspirational as it was insane. Known for his kind heart and demeanor, Teixeira might not get the same acclaim typically reserved for Brazilian MMA heroes like Rua, Aldo, Anderson Silva, Vanderlei Silva, or Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, but he belongs at the same table as any of them based upon what's inside of him. UFC 283 marked it close to one of the most exciting second chapters in MMA history. Somebody had posted on Twitter, somebody had tweeted that Glover Teixeira is not human. And then Brandon Moreno left no doubt as to who won the flyweight title trilogy, despite a chorus of boos and a barrage of trash thrown at him by a pro-Figueiredo crowd. Moreno successfully brought some closure to his historic 4-fight rivalry, and it wasn't even all that close. Moreno twice escaped legitimate submission attempts by Figueiredo, but dominating him in just about every other aspect. Not only did Moreno improve to a 2-1-1 against Figueiredo, thus making him the winner of the rivalry, his 2 victories were both largely one-sided stoppages. Even with a late camp change after trainer Jason Krause was banned by UFC amid a gambling scandal, Moreno kept his poise and was crisp with his striking. A left hook in round 3 opened a second cut around Figueiredo's right eye, which swelled shut and caused the cage side doctor to inspect after the round and advised referee Herb Dean to end the fight. Figueiredo announced he's officially moving up to bantamweight in the post-fight interview, allowing Moreno a second chance to build a sustained title reign. And then this was the other fight that I predicted. Gilbert Burns is still a problem for the welterweight division. Unable to lure Kobe Covington or Jorge Masvidal into a big money fight, Burns chose to stay busy against the always game Neil Magny, and at 36, sporting a youthful set of curls atop his head, Burns looked as if a potential second run at 170-pound title shot is still within reach after dominating Magny en route to a first-round submission. After brawling for 3 rounds against Chimaev in his last outing in a disputed decision defeat, Burns turned his focus back to the strength of grappling and boldly announced after the win that there isn't another welterweight alive that couldn't do the same against. Alive he couldn't do the same against. Oh yeah. And Rio also added a mic drop moment to close by calling out Covington once more. So there you have it, folks. That's the aftermath of UFC 283 Rio de Janeiro. We got Leon Edwards Usman 3 coming shortly. They got some other things in the works with some big fights, right? We got John Jones and Cyril Gane coming up at heavyweight for the vacant belt, left behind by Francis Ngannou after his contract was terminated. So we'll see what's going on. Also, we got some things coming up in boxing. We got Earl the True Spence, the unified 3-belt holder in the welterweight division, is going to go up against one-time Keith Thurman, who is the ex-WBA and WBC welterweight champ. Also, they made a fight with Stephen Fulton and Inoue. So that's a super fight. Hopefully by them making this fight with Inoue and Stephen Fulton, we were able to make some of these fights at the heavier weights, such as Spence Crawford and Benavidez Plant. I think Benavidez Plant, I think that one's going down, but Jamal Charlo, Plant, David Benavidez, Boo Boo Andrade, David Morrell, Canelo, all those guys, we're looking to see get in there and mix it up. Also, heavyweight division 2, I like to see Joe Joyce in there, Andy Ruiz, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, all these guys get it, Usyk, and let's get these guys that want to become undisputed. Let's get it going, right? You also got Devin Haney. He's supposed to be going up against Lomachenko, which I think is a good fight for Devin Haney. And Devin Haney wins this fight. I think he should be, he's definitely solidifying his legacy. Also, I want to, at some point here, I'm going to go over the pound for pound list, current list, and give you my takes on what they got there and who I think should be in there, and who should be ranked a little lower than where they're at. I got a special guest I'm going to be having on. We're going to have a boxing show. I'll name it once we confirm when we're going to do it. Then I'll go ahead and drop it in the community section. But until then, everybody have a blessed, positive, productive remainder of your weekend, which is Sunday. Back to work tomorrow, peoples. And I send mine. Big Lou tapping out.